According to Vince McMahon, Hart is one of the greatest storytellers in the business. A feud between Bret and his brother Owen Hart made both wrestlers' popularity soar until a tragic accident in the ring took the life of Owen Hart. Bret faced his own health crisis, suffering a debilitating stroke after falling off a bicycle. Here's a new DVD called Bret Hart, Hitman, the best there ever is, the best there ever was, the best there ever will be. Joining me from Toronto for tonight's big conversation is the obviously humble Hitman himself, Bret Hart. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Did you know Eddie Guerrero, the wrestler that was found dead last month?
Yeah, I did. I knew Eddie pretty well. He was a sweet guy. He was a really good guy, and he, anyone that knew him would tell you that he had a heart of gold. You know,
yeah.
He always had a smile. That's what I remember about Eddie Guerrero, is that he was always there to give you a big smile, and he seemed like a guy that was perpetually happy. You know, so.
Real tragedy. Obviously, it was heart failure. There's obviously brings up speculation about steroids. I know Vince McMahon's organization over the next couple of weeks is going to come out with a new drug testing policy as far as for, enhancing drugs and steroids and whatnot. Obviously, a lot of guys big, bulked up. I mean, those bodies don't happen on their own. Where are you coming out on this?
The steroid testing, as I remember it in the WWF back in the 90s, was a very serious thing. And, they always hear about guys that cheated on it or stuff like that, but I never cheated on it. And most of the guys I know were pretty serious about it, if not all of them. I mean, as far as I remember it was like two guys watching you all the time when you took the test. But funny enough, when I had my fallout with Vince McMahon at the Survivor Series in 1997, it was shortly after that they did away with the steroid testing. And I don't know the details behind Eddie Guerrero's passing. And
well, we'll certainly be watching that. You talked about your kind of 1997 confrontation with McMahon, basically the great double cross match that basically you went in with Shawn Michaels kind of thinking you were going to win or expecting to win, and it went terribly wrong, and then supposedly in the locker room afterwards you punched out McMahon. Was this part of the storyline, or was this a real life storyline?
I always took it really serious. I took the profession really serious, and I stand by how I behaved that day. And the one thing I can say is that I told the truth. I was very honest. I did what I was told. I had an understanding with Vince McMahon, and Vince McMahon had said to me, in conversations that day and even that week, that I was the Cal Ripken and the Lou Gehrig of the company. And I really went into that match believing that what I was asking for and what he was asking for was, I had to protect my character. And wrestlers are, we're sort of independent contractors, and you get a lot of people that tell you that I should have just done what I was told, sort of thing. But the fact of the matter is that I'm my own businessman, in the sense that I have to protect my stock and protect myself. And I was leaving the company, and I had to protect myself, and I was misled and lied and screwed over right in front of everybody in a very intentional, humiliating fashion.
What I never
unworthy of Lou Gehrig or Cal Ripken. Anyway.
What I didn't understand is, because and Vince has been on the show several times and acknowledges that it's entertainment, and we leave it at there. If the script, so to speak, was for you to win that match, how did that change in the ring? I mean, because you were the guy in there.
Well, in wrestling, there's a lot of backstabbing, a lot of politics, and a lot of stuff goes on, and you have to sort of understand the industry.
That day it ended with you kind of basically punching out Vince McMahon. He walked around the black eye, but you guys kind of eventually made your peace. How did that happen?
Well, I'd like to say first off that I've never ever said Vince was a murderer. That's never something I felt, and I don't believe that he's a murderer or that had anything to do with my brother Owen's death, other than the fact that he was the head of the company when it happened. I think it was just a regrettable accident that I think everybody wished had been thought out differently and hadn't happened. But
yeah, I want to talk about that a little bit, that fateful night in 1999. Now, he was being, as part of a stunt, was being lowered down on a cable, and he was actually afraid of heights.
I don't know that he was. He say he was a high flyer, so I don't know. I mean, I don't think he wanted to fly that high, but
right.
I think no matter how you look at it today, I mean, Owen had a certain responsibility to, he had that final decision to decide whether he wanted to do that stunt. And I think he put his faith in the fact that the people that were doing it were going to do it right, and that was where he, made that fatal mistake.
Obviously, you've thought a lot about this in the last 7 years or so. What could have been done differently that night? Because look, accidents do happen, but what man-made error? What could have been done differently to avoid that accident, if anything?
Well, I don't. I'm from the old school in the sense that I don't think the stunt or the idea was too smart in the first place. Especially in Owen's case, because Owen was a really talented and gifted wrestler. He didn't need to, come from the ceiling.
Now that night, as the fans watched, they clearly thought it was part of the show, and they were cheering. And it didn't air in the pay-per-view event, but they continued it live. Do you think McMahon made a mistake by doing that?
Yeah, I don't think. I don't think they handled it right. No, I've always disagreed with how they handled it, but in fairness, I mean, I think everybody was scrambling, and everybody, you wonder what is the right thing to do. I remember hearing at the time people saying that the fans would have rioted if they'd stopped the pay-per-view or stopped the show, and I think all that kind of talk is just hogwash. I think most of the wrestling fans would have been pretty respectful about it, and I think a lot of them were shocked and taken back by the fact that the show just carried on. And I was always a little disappointed that they kind of just swept Owen out of the ring and carried on like nothing ever happened. And I would have done things differently, let me put it that way.
All right, Bret, the new DVD is called Bret Hitman Hart, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. Thanks for taking time out, man. More big ideas straight.
Thank you.